Take your protein pills and put your helmet on.
Buddy, are we on? Okay. I needed my audience. They didn't like applause. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here for another fun edition of Deborah Kobylt Live. And we have a beautiful, lovely, super smart, and funny guest in studio with me today, Eugenia Kuzmina. Did I say that right? I did? I really did? Oh, my gosh. Thank you. I did it. I got it right. I'm so glad that you're here.
Yeah, you speak Russian now.
I do. You have to give me a couple lessons. Anyway, you are multifaceted. You're interesting. I did a lot of, research on you the past couple of days. You're a model. You have been on the cover of Glamour in 2004. You've been in Elle, Harper's Bazaar, Russian Vogue. You've done the runway for Yves Saint Laurent, Alexander McQueen. You've done work with Hermes. Is it Hermes? Hermes, sorry. Hermes and Cartier.
Yes.
Ads for Armani, L'Oreal, M&M, and RC Cola. Those two, I think you did in Russia. Is that right?
M&M's, yeah. That was the first companies who were kind of coming to Russia, from America. So it was really incredible to be part of the new world.
Yeah, I mean, you've done so much at a very young age. You've also, you've been on TV here, right? You worked on Castle?
Yeah, Castle, New Girl.
And?
The Comeback, Lady Dynamite.
Wow, you have done an awful lot. And film. What have you done in film as well? With Bill, who'd you work with?
I work with Bill Murray on Rock the Casbah. I work on Bad Moms, which I really love.
Wait, you just did Bad Moms?
Yeah, not the last one, but the one before, the original one.
Suzanne Todd is a friend of mine.
Yeah. It was fantastic. What a great experience.
Yeah, she's fun. She must be fun to work with. I mean, I know her as a friend in person. I've never worked with her.
Yeah, it was the set with, no ego whatsoever. Nobody was fighting for trailers, and that was, I could feel the shift.
That is, so dumb.
Well, maybe coming from old-fashioned movie stars, it was a different
old-fashioned.
Hollywood.
It was a very different time. It's look, I need the bigger trailer than her,
exactly.
And I need the Evian water. Please take back the Arrowhead.
Yeah,
right.
So it was really fantastic because I felt like a lot of actresses, they were actually moms on set, and it was just really fun to connect to them, as people, and laugh at.
Well, it's funny, actually. Let me ask you that. When you were on set of Bad Moms, because some of the actors and actresses are moms.
Yeah.
Did they say, no, it would be done this way? Did they change script a little bit?
Well, you always improvise. We have amazing directors and writers, and if it's a collaborative process to make a movie. So if you're open, if you have a great communication with your director, I think the best moments come from improvisation.
Yeah, because I have been a television reporter. I've had an illustrious film career in Nightmare on Elm Street 7. Go ahead, look me up.
Okay.
But I remember when I was on set with Wes Craven, I would say, no. A reporter would never say that. And he would cross it out and say, okay, then tell me how he would do it. Swear to God, he was very nice to work with. I actually gave him a little bit of, opinion, and he took it. So I was just
wondering. It's important to know where you stand, but also, know why you're doing. Yeah, and as you say, if you are a reporter, you know exactly what's truthful. I think good directors are always looking for the truth.
I was kind of surprised he listened to me, but having said that, so, however, and you do comedy, and we have a sketch. I want to play that in a little bit. But one of the main reasons why you're here today is your incredible, beautiful calendar called Beauty and, I don't know if we could see that, Beauty and the Beach. And you are displayed here in the calendar, 12 months nude. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, in today's day and age, why did you do a nude calendar? By the way, I have to say, in 2 months, it's sold out on Amazon. So if you're looking to get this for a Christmas gift, you better hurry up because they're going to put it back on Amazon soon too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did this calendar with a great photographer, Antoine Verglas, who is, been working for a long time with actors and, first ladies. He's an incredible lensman. So I knew I trusted, a really talented artist. But I didn't do this calendar just, to showcase my nudity. For me, there's a bigger message behind that because we were talking with Antoine and with everything that's happening, in the news. With all the disasters and tsunamis, and I feel it's really heightened this year. I felt, what can we, bring back, and what can we give back with our talent? You always want to do something that means something for somebody. So we decided to kind of, put our talents together and go to a place which represents nature, kind of a paradise.
That also got destroyed. Now, did you do this calendar? It was in St. Bart's, right?
Right before it was destroyed, like
Wow.
literally a few weeks later, Antoine sent me all the pictures of the places where it was shot, this calendar, and I couldn't believe what happened to people. So I kind of I had to shift, the focus of the calendar from just nature to really specific causes that I feel, people need that. It's for hurricane relief, and I chose.
I love that. And
yeah.
I love that. So if you're buying to put this up on the wall, remember you're doing some good for people too. So go ahead. You chose two charities in particular.
Yeah, I chose two charities. One is Fonkozy. For me, it was very important to know the right charities because, it depends on what you do as a charity. I grew up in third world country when Russia was changing, so a lot of charities came to Russia and they gave us, chocolate and things like that, but not specifically what we needed. So for me,
that's interesting. Because I'll tell you, when we went to Africa, people said, bring candy. I said, they don't need any more candy. They're going to end up with dental problems. So we brought little pads and little, things to write with. We tried to bring them something that they could use.
Exactly.
Such a great perspective. So you're like, go ahead. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, so, I always look at charities from that perspective. And these two charities, I know directly people, Adrian Paul, who has Peace Fund. We work in a few charities together.
The Peace Fund.
Yeah, the Peace Fund. He always supports underfunded charities. And he's very specific where the money goes. So I like that, because there are a lot of small causes. And he puts his focus on educating people in those countries so they can, build something by themselves rather than just giving them.
I looked into the Peace Fund because, again, I knew you were for my own research when I found out that you were supporting it. And they provide critical care, especially for kids.
Yeah, exactly.
When something horrifying happens, they go in and they're there, boots on the ground. So they do terrific work. And I know that they provided books, right? Didn't they? For
they do books.
Kids in Houston. Yeah.
Yeah, they do books, they build wells, they kind of use all tools. They have their radio show where I came on and we discussed, what are the best tools that you can do to support people in that country. So it's a really, I feel well-researched organization. And then Fonkozy is a friend of mine, an actress who, her friend, they're supporting Haiti. And what I liked about this organization, they're really small, and they donate 100% of their profits to the charity just because they're really connected to that. Part of the family, I think, comes from there. So I know that the money, they know, who is it for? They know what people need. And it's not just throw something.
We're at such a critical time in this world where those of us who can give something and do something and donate a portion, donate proceeds, donate something is so important. You said you grew up in Russia. Where did you grow up in Russia?
I grew up in Moscow and we spent a lot of time in Yekaterinburg. My dad was a nuclear scientist, but we literally...
Of course.
Yes, that's why I became a bombshell.
Go for it. Admit it, girl. The bombshell with a nuclear scientist dad. What did Mom do?
Mom was a stay-home mom because, at that time... only one parent can work. I grew up on food stamps. We had literally nothing. We had a bag of cereal for a week. We had to get really creative, fry sugar and make it into candy. So, it kind of gives you a different perspective on things.
So then how did you end up here? I guess you were discovered at 13 as a model.
Well,
and that gave you and that must have changed your life, right?
Yeah, I was never doing well, I think, in school or really kind of constricted systems. I was very creative, and I couldn't find an outlet for that because we were growing in such a strict place where, in school, you have to sit like that, and I just was yearning for something creative. And modeling was kind of something that, gave me an opportunity to travel and meet amazing artists. It's not about I want to be in a magazine. We didn't have any industry at that time, but it was more about working with somebody creative and learning that way. And I was really lucky.
When did you come to the U.S., though? And they, people always think when you're from Russia, you can't get out. Yeah. But they, I guess, when you first, how did you leave Russia?
You know, I was so lucky because when the scouts started approaching me at 13, my mom was like, okay, they're taking her to Turkey to dance on the tables. Don't trust these people. That happens. Like I had that whole thing. But I got really, really lucky because the lady who had this agency in Paris, Natalie, she was like a mother figure to me. She was so protective. And, you know, I think not a lot of girls are as lucky. You know, it really depends. The fashion industry is changing right now too, so there's a lot more regulations and support for young models. But when I started, there wasn't. So I was really lucky to work with somebody who's a mother figure. You know, I never was like a party girl. I was super focused on making money for my family, and I really liked what I do. So that's how I came to Paris, and then, you know, gradually you come to New York because that's the center of everything.
That must have been incredible, your first trip to
God.
America, which
Yes.
landed you in New York?
Yes, I couldn't believe that. I ate everything that I saw. I was like, oh my God, there's so much amazing things, but also...
Plus the freedom of it. You landed in a
Yes,
country
freedom.
that you read about, I'm sure, much of your life, and you thought, I'm here. I just can't imagine what that must be like.
It was amazing. It was fascinating because as a woman, I don't know, in my culture, it's a little bit more old-fashioned, I feel. So I felt like I couldn't really have a career. You know, you're not supposed to talk about having a career or any passion or, you know, kind of ambition. That was a word that would be looked down upon. So when I landed in America...
Way to keep you down, right? It's like, just
yeah. You know, when I
stay in your bubble.
when I
Stay
landed-
where you're told.
Exactly. In America, I met so many amazing, strong women who, you know, I was really inspired by their independence and how much they could do and also have their relationships and, you know, kind of balance it all in a way.
Cut forward a little bit. You are married to the CEO of Miramax, Bill Block.
Yeah, he was just appointed as CEO this year, so he's really excited.
That's incredible. You must have an amazing life. You've got 3 children.
Yes.
What kind of a life do you lead? You're a model, you are on television and film, and you're also very, very funny. We do have a clip of you from the Comedy Store or Comedy Club?
Comedy Store.
Comedy Store. You're real funny. But how do you then go from, you know, New York model to meeting Bill? And now I imagine you're a U.S. citizen, or you're a dual citizen, or did you give up your citizenship in
No,
Russia?
you have to give your citizenship up, I think.
You
now.
do?
I mean, yeah, there was some, I don't remember exactly, but I'm an American citizen right now.
Wow. So what's life like being married to, do we have a picture of him, I think? The two of them together on the red carpet, of Bill, and being a mom of 3, which is incredible.
Well, you know, I would say we live simple life in a way that, you know, my husband, we're into meditation, and, you know, I think it's not about material things, it's about passion.
And the
that's
work.
what united us, the work, the passion, you know, the, like, honesty, simplicity. It keeps you from, you know, kind of stopping in your growth. So, that, you know, that's how I treat my kids. In LA, I take them to charity events. We go to different, you know, like farms to support animals. I take them downtown to feed the homeless. So, you know, in a way, I want to take them out of the bubble. And we travel a lot. You know, we have really similar values. And
That can be done here in L.A. I have a lot of family back east. They're like, oh, you're in L.A. I said, you know what? I do a lot of really good work here with my kids and my family. And there's a lot of where you can expose them to and do charitable work and go somewhere quiet and find some peace. And especially in this business, that's very important because if you're right. If you keep it simple, it almost allows you to do your work and in a more meaningful way and to be better at it, don't you think?
Yeah, I feel like I was so lucky to work with so many amazing actors. And what's amazing to me is, like, the more, you know, they're so well known and established, the more simple they are.
Okay,
as
but that's always the
people.
way. I have found the more successful the actor, they have nothing to prove, first of
Yeah.
all. They've got the talent, and they're usually very generous and very giving.
Yeah.
Don't you find sometimes that here in Los Angeles it's a bit of a fallacy that we're regular people and families just trying to make a living too, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's a work like any other. People say that modeling is really glamorous, but it's not, you know, and I don't think you will understand it unless you're in the shoes as a model. where people tear your hair, put the makeup, and, you fly around. There's so many things that goes into actually
a lot, and people
Yeah.
need to know that. There's no doubt it looks incredibly glamorous, and it is, right?
Yeah.
And one is
It's
very
so
fortunate to be able to do it. But it also has work goes into it too. It doesn't
Absolutely.
just magically happen.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we show a clip? Because one of the funniest, you're doing Melania Trump. Do we have that
yes.
one? I swear I didn't even realize this was you.
Okay.
You're pretty terrific. So let's go to this clip.
To say it's a fantastic opportunity for women, for me to support women in this country. I'm a mom. We have our amazing boy Byron, and
Fantastic kid, by the way. Fantastic kid.
I met Byron at the party.
Baron.
Right.
Yes.
Baron.
Not
Baron.
Larry, you're horrible with names. You're
Horrible
terrible
with
with names.
He's
What
terrific.
did you say your name was?
Donald. But it's
John
Mr.
Domenico.
President now. You can never call me Donald again.
so I think it's a very important cause to support anti-bullying. It's a really important campaign that I'm going to promote.
Anti-bullying.
Anti-bullying, she's got two fantastic causes. Laura Bush did reading and libraries, total waste of time. And Michelle Obama did that whole fitness thing, But anti-bullying and starvation.
Yes, starvation is a very important cause. I have a long career as a model, and I was very successful. So
By promoting starvation.
Yes, how else? That's sexy. Starvation
no.
is hot. Starvation
Okay,
is hot.
let's
And
bring it
she's
down
gonna
for a
promote
second.
Starvation.
You are
and being
so
skinny,
terrific
and
at channeling
being
her.
skinny, tremendous.
But the best part is how you just let him talk and you just wait and then go in again. Because that's exactly what Melania does. That's really funny. You have another stand-up clip. Maybe we'll get to if we have some time. But I loved how you channeled her. What do you think of Melania Trump, by the way?
I think she's a fascinating person. She's a mystery in a way. You never know what's happening, behind the scenes. She has such a very specific image.
Very sophisticated
Yeah,
image,
very
and she just keeps
sophisticated.
it quiet. I can't even imagine. I think there was one clip too where, right after you two, I don't know, they were being interviewed. Right, she walks in, she goes, "I told you to be quiet." Right, and I
Yeah,
thought,
we were
I thought to myself,
playing.
that's probably really what happens. She probably brings them back, to where they're living, and she probably just gives it to them. I don't know. She's very mysterious to me.
Yeah, that's what makes really interesting to play her because we're talking with the directors and they're like, how does she behave in the closet? What? That's where everything happens, and you can be free and kind of discover the psychology of a person. But it's hard for me to judge just from the public image because as a model you're trained to portray a certain image. So I know she definitely is very talented.
Absolutely, and this is still a different world for her because she wasn't born here either.
Yeah.
And to suddenly be the first lady, could you even imagine that?
Yeah, she's definitely very ambitious and smart because
She really
wouldn't
is, and
get there. But
Thanks, because for anyone who says she's not smart, I said, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
She's a very smart woman, and by the way, smart is, there's so many different kinds of smarts. Are we talking, in school, reading a book? No, but I don't know, maybe she is. But she's very clever on how to deal with herself in situations and dealing with him, and I think we have a lot more to watch with her, don't you?
Yeah, I'm really curious.
I am too. How many languages do you speak?
I speak 3 languages, but I have to learn Spanish for a movie for next year. So.
Is that hard? Because I'm terrible with languages. I could barely get through English. Spanish to me was so hard in high school. I feel like they should teach it to kids when they're little.
Yeah, you definitely are more receptive as a child, but it's fascinating because you really can, I love the way Spanish people speak. It's a generalization, but, there's
it's a romance
kind
language. That's why.
Yeah, you can
What's the other
really
language
feel
you
that.
speak? Russian, obviously.
French.
That's
Yeah, I
a
had
romance
to learn.
language. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
It's very romantic.
My family spoke Italian, but they didn't teach it to me because when they came here, everyone was like, no, you're American now. Only speak English. So they just didn't speak to me. So I didn't grow up learning Italian, but I would hear them when they were in an argument. They would be speaking Italian and yelling usually in Italian. So I know some curse words, but other than
it's in your DNA.
it's in the DNA. But so what's next for you? I mean, this calendar is incredible, and people can find it on Amazon, right? Mm-hmm. Beauty and the Beach. Mm-hmm. And it is truly beautiful. Oh, and your birthday's coming up. You're born on Christmas Day.
I know. What a lucky birthday. Everybody's celebrating.
Because mine is December 22nd, for anyone who wants to send some nice gifts. But and everybody's like, oh, my God, you're close to Christmas. And I said, I love that.
I love that, too.
Because generally your family's probably all together. My kids are starting to get a little older, and I'm just grateful that around Christmas time we're all together.
Exactly.
It's a perfect birthday. Plus, you share it with someone who's very well known, right?
Yeah.
What are you going to be doing? Any special plans for the birthday?
We like to travel on Christmas Day. Actually, it's kind of like our tradition because there's literally nobody in the airport. So we're going to Hawaii. Yeah, we're going to Hawaii just because it's really close, and my husband had such a busy year, kind of a crazy year. So I think we just need to take a few days off and, kind of spend with the kids.
I love traveling around Christmas because you're right. For the most part, everyone's home and doing what they're doing. Sometimes we'll leave town early the next morning while everyone's still sleeping. Yeah. We would have done our thing on Christmas. I love Christmas. Yeah. Get up early and get out of town. Well, you said your husband's busy. What do you think about all that's happened with now today? What Matt Lauer was deposed. Mm-hmm. You heard about that?
Yeah, of course.
And all these people, Weinstein, who used to work with Miramax, where your husband is.
Well, I hope it's gonna be a big change in in women position in the business, and I hope it's gonna be positive. I hope maybe it's gonna stop a little bit with hysteria because it seems like everybody's just into that, and where's the borderline? Okay, I can't touch you anymore. You know what I mean? But I think it's very important to have dignity and integrity no matter what you do, no matter if you're a man or a woman. If you're in a position of power, that's when it gets tricky. That's when your true colors show.
That's very true. When you're in a position of power and the person that is across the desk or wherever isn't, and that you can take over. But there's all kinds of abuse. There's sexual abuse. There's emotional abuse that I think people need to also deal with. Going to work and being in a workplace and you're sort of emotionally tricked into also feeling very passive, and that you have to give in to what the other person wants. But,
I think it's important as a society to discuss it and kind of bring the issues, on the surface. So after you can see what's the next change. For me, it's always what's the next thing? What can we take positive out of it?
I think they need to I think it's got to get to the point where people are almost too scared to do anything, where they go, oh, no, I can't do anything that is off color, because then my career could be at stake and I could ruin my life.
Well, but I think more regulations, definitely more rules. And what I like in fashion business, when something started happening, now there are, contracts that protect models from, starvation, so to speak, or any kind of issues. So I think it's important to have that kind of regulations that are in place for respect and integrity.
What do you say to people who say, why a nude calendar? Why now? Why nude?
I would explain that. I think, first of all, coming from Europe, I think people have a very different understanding of a body. It doesn't specifically being associated with sexuality, like a nude body is something natural. It's how you're born.
So natural. It's so beautiful, especially when you have a photographer who's taking really tasteful pictures.
And it really depends on the body language. As a model, it's like a dancer. You can, kind of project something. So for me, it was, if we would put fashion or accessories into this calendar, it would be about fashion, but it was all about, nature. And being part of nature, it's something bigger than we are. So that's what we were trying to portray, and I hope anybody who buys it will see that.
It's beautiful. I mean, the pictures are really beautiful, and you are surrounded by nature, and it just feels like you're one with.
Exactly.
That's
what we were trying to portray. It's all about the rocks or the sunlight,
beautiful.
And it kind of highlights that. Then hey, look at me.
Yeah,
so
it's not like
message.
That at all. It's actually really beautiful.
And I think it's very empowering, for women to be who they are, because for so many years you'll be being labeled oh, if you do that, you're that. If you do that, you're that. I think, you can do whatever you want as long as your message is very clear and, you have the right intention.
And yours is, and your intention is to help people with it too. So
Yeah.
it's fascinating to talk to you. I'm really glad that you came in and we got to know each other a little bit.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
too.
Any parting words? How can people find you? Any work coming up that we can look forward to seeing you in?
Yeah, I have a film with Todd Strauss-Schulzen, who's a really talented young director, and it's called Isn't It Romantic? I just have an appearance in this movie, but it was fun to work with Rebel Wilson and
Oh,
Chris
great.
Hemsworth, so it's super funny. It's not romantic, but, maybe a little bit. And then, come to the Comedy Store. It's super fun to share stories with people, and I always like to.
She is hilarious. You can look her up on YouTube too. You can see
Yeah.
some of your work on YouTube. I was watching quite a bit of it. You have great timing.
Oh, thank
you.
you.
And timing is everything in comedy. You just sort of
is.
know when to put it there. So
Yeah.
so that would be fun too. And of course the calendar.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So
Thank
yeah,
you so
happy
much for being
holidays.
here.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
Thank you so much. And it was a fun show. I enjoyed this so much. I'm looking forward to my calendar coming out next year.
Yes, you sure do.
I'd be happy to. Anyway, we'll talk about that next. Thanks for being here. And we will see you next time. Thanks for being here for Deborah Kobylt Live. Bye-bye.